Everybody, welcome to Outside the Box with Tony Vaughn. This is our first show, and I'm so excited. And I have an amazing guest today. Her name is Kirstin Ross, and she is a spiritual medium. And I went to see her a couple of months ago and had the most incredible experience, so I couldn't wait to have her on. So let's jump right in. I'm always fascinated with the spiritual stuff and the stuff that I can't see and things like that. So, but I'm also curious how this kind of stuff starts for somebody. How and when did you know that something was a little different about you?
Right. Well, I think I was born this way, but when I was 8 years old, I said something to my mother which freaked her out. I said the full name of a friend of hers from her childhood, and first, middle, and last name, and she freaked out because she didn't talk about her childhood or her family.
She had passed?
I don't know. She was actually talking to me about, I had this blonde fuzzy hair on my arms, and she said, oh, my best friend growing up had that hair on her arms, same as yours, and I just blurted out her full name. I think it was Betty Lou Johnson or something, and she just freaked out and said, how did you know that? And I said, I don't know. And so being 8 years old, you know, I wanted my mom's approval, and she looked mad, and so I thought I better not say anything because I knew stuff. And so I just sort of shut it down, and at that point I knew something was weird about me.
So because you were getting other stuff too, but didn't feel like you could verbalize it?
Yeah, I never felt like comfortable saying anything to somebody. Like I knew if someone on the playground, like if their parent was an alcoholic or something like that. Like I just knew weird, heavy stuff about people, but I never said it because I also had, you know, my mom was an alcoholic and I had heavy stuff at home, and I wouldn't want people prying into my life.
Sure.
So I was sensitive to other people's private situations. So at a young age, I had a knowingness and sort of a, I don't know what you would call it, intelligence about not pulling someone's covers or making them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then later on, you know, it started to come back decades later.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So as a child, you realized this was uncomfortable. People aren't going to like what I have to say, kind of. So you kind of shut it down for decades.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. A lot of people, a lot of mediums will run away and try not to, because it's such a strange experience to know things. And but like I said, decades later, I was with my fiance, just for instance. This was close to 20 years ago, I would say. We were driving down the 405, and when we met, his dad was dying and my mom was dying. So we had, you know, something in common besides a million other things. But we were driving down the freeway, and all of a sudden I said to him, your dad's here. And he said, excuse me? And I said, your dad's in the car with us. And I had never met his dad. And he's like, okay, you know, just thinking crazy broad, right? So I said, and I heard very clearly, he doesn't believe me, so I'm going to give him a sign. So I said, your dad says you don't believe him, so he's going to give you a sign. And he's like, okay, whatever. So we are continuing down the 405, and 5 minutes later or something, I was just looking out the window, and a Corvette drove by. It caught my eye, and the license plate said Felipe, and that was his dad's name. And I said, look. And he's like, oh, holy crap.
Oh my gosh.
And then we didn't talk about it after that. It was just something like that happened to me, and then I would not think about it again. I didn't think, oh, I'm a medium. I would just think, oh, his dad was here. No big deal.
That'd be a pretty big deal. So you didn't see his dad?
No, I heard his dad.
Okay.
My strongest sense is my hearing, my clairaudience. So when I was 8 years old, I heard the name of my mom's friend.
Okay.
And again, when it started to come back, I started to hear messages. That's how I began. Yeah.
So for those decades that you were on hiatus,
dormant.
Yeah. is that what it was like? You were dormant, or was it still there, but you were just trying to ignore it or wouldn't express it?
Well, it was there. See, every medium is psychic as well. So I still knew stuff about people, but I was making a conscious effort, I think, not to connect with people who were passed. I remember being in school. I was studying to be a drug and alcohol counselor, and there was a lady there, and I could never remember her name. It was a common name, like Deborah or something.
Yeah.
And I liked her, and every time I saw her, I'd hear a different name. And so one time I said to her, it's so weird, but every time I see you, I know your name is Deborah, but I keep hearing Virginia or something. And she said, oh, that's my mom's name. And I was like, oh. Is she passed? And she said, yeah. And I said, oh. And I just kind of walked away. You know, it's that kind of
like
thing.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, strange, right? And she didn't ask me anything further because we were just in class, you know, on a break or something. But these little things happened over the years, and I just thought things happen to everybody, you know?
So had you, when you were younger and as you were going through this, had you studied or seen other mediums? Were you ever curious enough to know, like to seek out how this affected other people? And
I was really into, like, I read James Van Prague's first book, and I remember a friend and I discussing this. And this was like when it first came out, Talking to Heaven, I think it was.
Okay.
So it had to be 25 years ago at least. And I read the book and I really believed it, but I didn't still know that I was a medium.
You didn't connect it with yourself?
No, and I used to watch, And I used to, in fact, I remember reading this book and thinking, wow, I wish I could do that. That's like a superpower, you know? But I really didn't know that I was connecting. I just thought, oh, everybody has something once in a while, you know, where something happens to them. And I would also watch John Edward, his show Crossing Over. Yeah. And I just voraciously watched it, you know, when it used to be on, you know, Channel 5 or whatever in the mornings, and just was fascinated by it. Yeah. And I started to read about it, but I still didn't know. You know, Spirit has a plan. If they want you to work for them, it's like the mafia. They're going to get you in some way or another, right? So
that is so great. And you know, other mediums that might be watching this are going to be like, "Yep, that's true. That's totally it." Like they'll only let you ignore it for so long.
Yeah, when they want you to work for them. There are many mediums that don't want to do this for a living, but if they really want you to, they will recruit you. And little by little, it started happening where it started to seep in.
What does that mean?
Oh, if they want you to work for them, then
like you said that little by little they'll.
Oh, well, just these things where it's like, oh, your dad is here, and then it's like you can't explain this stuff. Yeah. And then these things start to happen more frequently. I would say. Yeah. And then until I always say, for me, Spirit screamed in my ear. Okay. I ignored it for so long. The license plate thing, no big deal. Talking about this lady's mother's name, whatever. But I could no longer ignore it when Spirit started screaming in my ear. It's like, you have to listen to this.
Like they whispered for the longest time to try to get your attention. And then
I ignored it for decades.
Yeah.
And then finally, I could no longer ignore it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Now, you said you ignored this for decades. Were you ever able to share it with your mother before she passed?
No.
Have you shared it with her since?
Well, she knows. Yeah. I mean, those in Spirit know, right?
Right. But is it, if for mediums, well, I guess you can't speak for everybody, but are you at home washing the dishes and Mom comes in?
Well, I do talk to my dad and my aunt every day, his older sister, who is more like a mom to me than my mom. Okay. So sometimes my mom will come in and I'll know she's there by smelling cigarettes and wine. So that was my mom. So you could see, like, I don't really want to hang out with her. She wasn't really a mom to me. She left when I was little. So we didn't have that real mother-daughter connection. I loved her because she was my mom. Right. But it wasn't like we had a special connection like I had with my dad, who ended up raising 3 kids by himself. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So he helps me with every reading. Yeah. And
so then you don't have any sort of I don't want to say fear of, like, I'm not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of how, you know,
suffering.
or suffering. Yes, exactly. I'm afraid of suffering, but I'm not afraid of dying. So I imagine you obviously do not either. And so when they do come, like you said, your dad and your aunt, do they just come in with little insights every now and then, or do they come in and talk to you? Are you having a conversation? And do you answer them out loud, or do you just do it in your head?
Both. You know, it's funny because before every reading I meditate, and I connect with my guides who help me connect with people's loved ones in spirit when I'm doing mediumship, or people's own lives when I'm doing intuitive/psychic readings. And I talk to my dad every day. He helps me with my readings. My dad and my Auntie Selma, I call her.
Okay.
So they are kind of like guides to me now, you know, like, because my dad was such a huge part of my life, the connection that can never be broken.
Right.
And I don't know, it's just a natural thing. It's not like, I don't even think about whether it's out loud or in my head. It's both. It's just like, it's just there, natural.
And when you finally got recruited, when you could no longer ignore it, was there people in your life that were just like, I can't deal with this, or whatever? I mean, did any friends or family fall away, or were they just excited? Did everybody want a free reading? Is that, I mean... Yeah,
I mean, at first it was hard for some people to believe, but, you know, those closest to me believed me.
Yeah.
And, it just started to happen where, I mean, we can get into this story if you want to.
Go ahead.
Okay. I started to hear Spirit saying this name over and over and over, and I knew it was connected to my mother-in-law. I knew it was for her. And I don't know, it's just knowingness. You know, we have a knowingness. And so for weeks I ignored it, just like I always ignored it, just like, why are you bothering me with this? Finally, it's like, I can't explain that weird denial, but a lot of people have it. So I kept hearing the name over and over and over, and it was Imelda. I kept hearing this name that was foreign to me, but finally I kept asking my fiance to ask his mom if she knew who this was, because I had a feeling it's somebody who passed, and she's from Cuba, so it makes sense it was a foreign name. So anyway, he kept saying, I just said, did you ask her? And he said no. And I finally said, did you ask her, like for the 5th time? And he said, no, why don't you just call her? So I took his cell phone and I called her, and she answered, and I explained, I'm hearing this name. Do you know someone by this name? And she screamed, and the phone went dead.
Oh.
And I was like, what just happened?
What did I just do to her?
So I called back and I said, hello? And I said, do you know who this is? And she started crying, and she said, my best friend growing up. Her name was actually Emelina, but since I'd never heard that name, I just got as close as I could. They told me Imelda, which I knew that name. And so...
now, not to interrupt, was this after you had already kind of come out to where when you called her, was she had no idea that you did this kind of stuff?
She had no idea.
Okay.
And I didn't either. I was just like, I know I have to...
Oh, this was still before, okay.
Yeah, it was like, finally, see, this is when Spirit screamed in my ear. This was like this lady saying her name over and over for weeks, whispering. Finally, it was like, Imelda! And I'm like, okay, I gotta call her. So then she started crying, and she said this is her best friend growing up, and the phone went dead again. And I'm just like, there's so much energy that Spirit brings through.
So she's not hanging up.
No.
The phone's just going dead.
It's just the energy, amount of energy coming through. So I called her again. This literally happened 4 or 5 times where the phone went dead. And I said, what's wrong with your phone? And he said, nothing. And I was calling her landline. She didn't even have a cell phone. So finally, she said, this is my best friend growing up. And I said, was her husband's name Roberto? And she started screaming. And I was just like, okay, this is something. And she said, what do they want to say? And I said, I guess they just want to say hi. I didn't know how to deliver a message. I had no idea. And she's like, oh, she said, you know, they have a son, Eduardo, and I haven't talked to him in a while. He's in Miami. So I'm going to call him tomorrow. And I said, okay. So I wasn't thinking anything of it. I was at work the next day, and Ronnie, my fiance, texted me, and he said that the day I finally delivered the message, Eduardo, their son, had gone into the hospital, and he ended up dying.
Oh.
So she had been trying to get my attention for weeks that, her son was sick. And so that was the first sign from Spirit.
That's awful.
I know. I thought,
I'm like, that's a terrible story.
Well,
but it's the story.
Yeah. That's what happened is, when he texted me and he said, Eduardo went into the hospital yesterday, and then he ended up dying. So,
Did he pass that same day?
I think so.
Or somewhere close.
The day I got the text, maybe.
Yeah.
And it was just like she wanted to just, say, maybe she wanted her to call her son or something, but I'm sure that the outcome would have been the same.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to deliver a message. It's just like Spirit was like,
right.
Tell her. And she was the one who picked it up and was open to it and said, I got to call him,
Did that create any kind of urgency for you?
Yes.
From that point
That's
forward?
That's what it was. So I then was I used to have Friday night dinners with my best friend, like after work. So I went over to her house and I was telling her what happened. And she said, do you have a message for me? And I was like,
it doesn't work like that.
I've known this person all my life, so I'm thinking, I don't know what. Anyway, so I just said, it's weird. I'm getting the name Bruce and the letter S, like last initial S. And she said, I did know someone who died last year named Bruce who lived in my neighborhood. I didn't know who this was. And she said, but I don't think his last name started with an S. And she said, I'll have to look his wife up on Facebook or whatever. She looked the wife up, and the last name was not S. She said, I don't think that's right. And I said, she told me since then that I said to her, that's what I'm getting, and I'm sticking with it. Like Spirit was like, it's Bruce S.
Yeah.
So, and that one I saw, actually, I heard Bruce, and then I saw like the name in skywriting, sort of like my clairvoyance was coming in.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, the next day, Saturday, I'm at home working out on my little machine, and I get a text from my friend. And she says, I was sitting at an outdoor cafe in Sierra Madre where she used to live, and she said a guy walked by that I know had been a friend of Bruce. And she said, told him the story and said, but my friend said S, and that's not his wife's last name. And he said, oh, yeah, his last name was Spangenberger. His wife didn't take his name. And she's like, oh my God. So she texted me right away. And this was like 2 things right in a row. So I knew then I had to do something about it. It was like that. It took a lot to get my attention. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, what do I do? And then I started studying and reading, and I found a mentor, and I took classes and started developing.
Okay. So then you really got into it. And was it like most of us that have something on the side that we love to do, and we have to wait until that financially builds up enough that we can afford to get rid of this and start doing that full time? I
was always doing another job. So I was actually managing a law office, and I was a drug and alcohol counselor, and then I was starting to work as a medium. But I did free readings for like 1.5 years or 2 years.
To build up your medium muscles.
Yeah, because I wanted to be worthy of charging someone, and I wasn't confident. And that's the thing, is the experience. Some people are born like with this confidence, especially the younger mediums. But since I had been ignoring it for so long, I was just like, I'm not sure of the messages. So that's why doing all of these free readings, and my best friend helped me so much. She was like, so-and-so wants a reading, and she would set it up, and I would go to her house on a Friday night and read friends. And
I wouldn't think that would be hard to find people that want a free reading.
No, it wasn't. And so, but she was like my pimp, she just arranged the whole thing.
She'd take her cut. It was free,
my cut of nothing.
Yeah.
So she was just doing it because she's my best friend,
Yeah.
And but eventually, it came to the point where it's like, I don't even know who these people are, and it does seem to be worthy of something that I'm supposed to be doing and charging for eventually. So I started to slowly, charge for this and build my confidence and continue to study. And
well, 25 years ago, it wasn't as mainstream and accepted as it is.
Well, honestly, it wasn't 25 years ago that this all happened. Really, it was like 8 years ago.
Oh, really? That you started doing it on a regular basis?
Right. 8 years ago, when Spirit screamed in my ear.
Okay.
So I don't want to say my age, but there are people of every, you don't have to be 20 to start something. And that's my message, is like, you can be middle-aged or whatever. And when they want you to work for them, you will. And so it does start to, little by little, like, I remember my mentor saying, like, okay, now I want you to read somebody by phone. And I'm like, say what? I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah.
And then email. And I'm like, huh? So she really...
you can do it by email?
I don't, but you can. Yes,
oh, okay.
I did email readings just for like fellow students of hers, just to see, and they were very accurate. So you can, yes.
Yeah. And I understand that there is no disconnect between any, that we're all connected.
Yeah.
When I used to do energy work, where I would go in and help people remove trapped negative emotional energy.
Yeah.
And I had clients on the East Coast, and and it was amazing. And I felt like you at first, the confidence thing, because I would do the reading, at home alone, and then I would send them my results of, what I found and stuff like that. And you just,
Yeah, that was like what the email thing was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do most of my readings by phone all over the country.
Yeah.
And even Canada and some other countries. But 90 to 95% of my readings are people I've never seen in person.
Yeah. Okay.
So
well, we have a treat for you today. We actually got a reading that she did with somebody else, so you can kind of see what her process is and stuff like that when she's sitting with somebody, reading somebody, picking up on the energy of those that have passed for that person that's there with her. So we'll be right back.
So there's still a soul, and they're with everybody. They're with family, and
so it would have been a little girl.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting, girl energy. So, no guilt here. I'm saying no guilt. Okay, just, it's all love. It's all love. And souls come here for however long they're supposed to come here, And we can't understand it as human beings, sometimes fathom why children are taken away, or we, whatever the plan is. But it's for our soul's growth and their growth as well. So, all right, what else do we want to say here? And so, it's so interesting. Because I keep hearing mother, and that's usually what I hear when someone's mom has passed. So you just must have been so close with your grandmother, like a mom, like a second mom.
Like my mom.
Yeah.
We were with her. I mean, we have family portraits.
Yeah.
With them.
Yeah. So she's just very, very strong. I also see the letter G. G for George.
George.
Yeah.
There is a George in our family.
Okay. So they just want you to know that they know. They're still around. And your grandma shows me your head on the pillow, which is my symbol for I'm coming to you in your dreams. So you ever dream about her? Okay.
If I dream, I don't remember.
Okay. So she's going to try to come in stronger for you.
Okay, perfect.
Because a dream, a lot of times we don't remember, but this is more like a visit. And when it's a visit, we remember. Because you'll remember what you were doing, you'll be holding hands, you'll be laughing, you'll be eating figs, whatever. And you'll remember it's a visit. So she's going to try to come to you in that way. Sometimes it's like our heart is so heavy, it's, it's hard to get through, and it takes them a lot of energy. But she's showing me, so I'm sure she will. Okay.
Just tell her, don't scare me.
She can hear you.
Just don't scare me.
She can hear you. No, it wouldn't be scary. It would be like
loving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be
I miss her so much.
We're having a great time. Yeah. Okay. So we have the peepaw, and then all right. What else? So you have an uncle in spirit. Also male energy here as well. So there's like a lot of people.
Is there an initial for that uncle?
Let me see. Yeah, he'll probably give it to me. Oh, I just saw a T. I have to say T.
T.
So whether it's him or someone else, I don't know.
Right.
So Tom, Tony, or there can be female like Teresa or something like that, but I just saw a T.
I have a female energy with the name of T.
Okay.
And they're actually connected to my uncle that I'm thinking of.
Yeah. So that's no coincidence when they'll mention
So
someone
weird.
else, but they may mention their name
And the KA.
Yeah.
They're all connected.
Yeah. So that's how it works. So connect the dots with spirit. Okay. But your grandmother is so close to you. She wants you to know. She's like, I'm not going anywhere. And she'll see you again. But she's like, not for a while, you know. She's like, you have a long life to live here, so don't worry about that. But you'll see her again. But I do think she'll come to you in your dreams as a visit. Okay. What else do we want to say here? Okay. It's funny, besides George, I'm seeing another GR. So is there like Jerry or Gerardo or?
My son's first name is Gerardo.
Oh, okay. There you go.
And his grandfather is named Gerardo. I
You
just
can't
thought
make
about
this up.
that.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, it's like roll call in heaven, and you know, and then here too, mentioning, you know, they know what's happening. But I do keep seeing this, so I think somebody is
Pregnant. Huh?
Yeah, is pregnant, or
Wow.
or will be soon.
Oh, wow.
They know about this. They're also mentioning the month of May for birthday or anniversary.
My birthday.
Oh, happy birthday!
Thank you.
Yeah, and they're also showing me the number 16. So if there's a 16th of a month that's a birthday or anniversary, it could also be a period of time when someone passed. But the 16th.
Okay.
Okay. You're not 16 years old.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's it.
Yes, he is.
Okay. I can't tell with kids how old they are anymore.
16.
Yeah, if somebody's under 30, I have no idea. Okay. So, all right. What else do you want to say? So I do feel the A-N again. And I do think there's like Antonio rather than N. So Anthony, Antonio.
Antonio is what I was thinking was Tony, short.
Yeah.
Antonia is part of the KA. That was her
Oh.
mother.
Okay.
Antonia, and then Katrina.
You have so many people.
I
in
do,
Spirit.
I do.
There must be 10 or 12 people here.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Okay.
Sad, but
Yeah.
there's a lot.
Yeah, but you're still connected.
Good.
And but grandmother is so strong, and and somehow she keeps showing me this. So I know we were talking about a necklace earlier, but she didn't give you this necklace, right? It's somebody else. Your uncle gave it to your mother, and you have it. Okay. Somehow, I don't know. Were you looking at it or something recently, or wearing it? Okay. Maybe she wants you to wear it because
Maybe.
she keeps referencing like a necklace. Okay. So usually they do that when there's something they gave you, but I'm not seeing. Sometimes they'll show me exactly what it is, but I'm just feeling reference to like wearing the necklace. Okay. Because it just keeps us connected, you know? And yeah. So
But I talk to her every day.
yeah. So yeah, she it's interesting. I'm seeing this. It looks like beads. Sometimes this is rosary
Beads?
Yeah. Would she have a rosary? Do you know?
What do you mean? Does
Well-
she have the rosary beads?
Yeah.
She had a lot of them.
Okay. That's why
Yeah.
she's showing me. Okay. She's just trying to give me some more detail for you. You know, I'm like asking her, give me as much as you can. Okay. And she's talking about movies. Movies. Did you guys watch a lot of movies together or something? I don't know what this is about. I want to ask you this because it's almost like outdoors. Did you go to drive-ins or something?
Drive-ins. We did go to drive-ins.
Oh, okay.
Not a lot with my grandmother.
Yeah.
We used to do game shows. That was
Oh.
her thing.
Okay.
We used to watch a lot of TV together.
Oh,
though.
okay. Because it feels like outside movies. So I'm like, oh,
But back then it was the
drive-ins.
drive-in.
Yeah, right. Okay, so drive-in is what she's talking about. She's
That's
just
so funny.
talking about old memories.
That
because-
was when I was very little.
Yeah. Well,
So
it's fond memories for her. They don't forget things, you know? It's just like, and to her, you'll always be little. So, you know, you're like her little baby. So it's always nice to be someone's baby, right?
It is.
Okay. What else do we want to say? Okay. showing me balloons. So the balloons is a symbol for birthday or anniversary, and there's a feeling of right around now. So if it's in
What month are we in?
August, it's in within like a week, 10 days of now. It feels like
July.
current. Okay.
Last month it was an anniversary of a death, but not a birthday.
Okay. Showing me the balloons. Trying to see
Unless
if I
there
can
was a
get
birthday
anything
and I
else.
just don't remember.
Yeah, it might be somebody you're not thinking of, but that's okay. You might look it up when you get home
Oh.
and realize it's like, oh, that was Uncle's birthday. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else? I also see the N. N as in Nick or Nancy. N. Okay. I do keep getting the reference to school. So,
My son's in school.
Okay. So before, when I was saying, I'm seeing writing on a blackboard, usually a symbol for teaching, but it can be also somebody's going to school or back to school. So this is just like they know.
Yeah, because he's going back to school next week.
Oh, okay. All right. Is that you? Oh, great. Okay, perfect. God, they start back so early nowadays.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah. This is funny because your grandmother's like, you behave yourself. Because he's a little ladies' man. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's like, yeah. She's like, you behave yourself. Don't get yourself into trouble. So that's a personal message for you.
She sees everything.
Like she said that to you.
Yeah. So don't grow up too fast. And I don't want to say anything weird on camera or too explicit, but there's a feeling of him being very popular with girls, guys too. But like, don't get into trouble with this. I don't want to say what I think she's talking about, but I'll tell you after if you don't know what I'm talking about. Okay.
I know what she's talking about. Do you know what she's talking about? Nana was very blunt. So can you imagine what she's saying?
I'll tell you after. I don't know if I want to say it on camera. Yeah? Don't get anybody pregnant.
Protection.
Yes. Sorry. I didn't want to embarrass you, but I could have told you after, but she's just like, don't grow up too fast. If that happens, your whole life changes, and she just wants you to be think, okay? Think your actions through, otherwise it's going to change your life. Okay. That's from her. Hopefully you appreciate that, because it's not just you.
Right.
Right? She knows. Okay. All right.
Get a little sidetracked.
So awkward, right? Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay, what else? Anything else you want to say? I also see ST. So is there Steven, Stephanie? Yeah.
My uncle.
Oh,
Stevie.
okay. So she's just sending her love. And, yeah. Okay. So she's like, I'm back to being the way I was when I was healthy.
My grandmother?
Yeah. There's a feeling of, she just wants you to know that she's
so great.
Young, and she doesn't want to brag, but I'm just going to say there's a feeling of being very attractive.
There she was beautiful.
Yeah, but I was going to say beautiful, but she doesn't want me to say that because she's humble and she doesn't want to feel like she's bragging.
Of course.
Right? So that's her personality. She just wants me to say that I'm back to feeling like really free again, like I can move and I can run and I can do whatever. I can dance.
She can dance.
Yeah, because as soon as I said run, she said dance.
Yes.
And so we said it like at the same time. Okay, yeah, so she's like,
Yes.
okay, right.
She loved to dance.
Yeah, so, yeah. Was she with your grandfather when she was very young?
Very young, yes.
Teenage, like, yeah, that's what she's telling me. So, it feels like that. And then I'm getting the number 8. So, this can have more than one meaning because it can be the August, which it might just not be something you're thinking of. But was there somebody who had like 8 children? Do you know?
She had a lot.
Okay.
Oh gosh. It was.
It's okay.
Was it 8? Because 2 passed. I could have been 8. I have to count.
That was my first feeling, but there could also be, because I do feel like there's a reference to August as well, but I felt like 8 kids. Somebody had a lot of children.
She had a lot of children.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What else? And then R.A. Was there actually like a Raoul? Because it feels a little different to me. A name I don't hear every day. R.A. And I don't know what else it would be. Or Raphael, something that's a little bit unusual for me.
Right.
Okay. The R.A. name. All right. What else do we want to say for you?
Ramon.
Oh, maybe. The R.A. that's like something I don't hear every day. So that might be what it is. Okay. So, what else? And then, did someone have twins? There's a reference to twins.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
She's just telling me as much as she can.
Yeah.
And
yeah, her sister had twins.
Okay, wonderful. So, right. What else do we want to say? Boop, boop, boop. M. I keep seeing the M. Also, is there another M, Michael, Michelle?
My son Michael, my cousin Michelle, that are living.
Yeah. I just saw the M.I. She's just trying to mention as many people in the family as she can. Right? Okay. Yeah. She's just saying hi to everyone.
There's a lot of us.
Yeah, there sure are. Wow.
There's a lot of us.
Wow. Okay. Let's see. Anything else you want to say? Yeah. She's just talking about blessings. Did she speak Spanish? Because I'm hearing it in Spanish, and I'm seeing this. So she must have been Catholic. I don't know. Seeing her crossing herself and saying like bendiciones or whatever this word is. I think it's like blessings or something. I'm like,
not fluid in Spanish.
I'm like 50%. So sometimes it's like a long word. I'm not sure, but I think it's blessings.
She was full Catholic.
Yeah.
In Spanish,
so,
she spoke.
No wonder she showed me the rosary and crossing herself and then talking about blessings. So, you know, she's just sending you blessings and love every day. She's always with you. And she's showing me making food.
Tortillas.
Yeah. It's like, she must have made these by hand or something.
My grandma Mercy, her mother. Did the tortillas by hand.
Great. Okay. So that's another person that's not your grandmother. Right. Okay.
That's my great grandmother.
She's just letting somebody else come in.
Yes.
Okay.
That's Mercy.
Is that her mom? Oh, okay.
Yes.
So she's showing me the making of the tortillas. And she's just like, it's a big party up here.
I bet.
You know, we're cooking, we're singing, we're dancing.
I bet.
You know, she's like having a great time. So she's like, don't worry about me.
Yeah.
She's in heaven. So she's like, I'm with Jesus, I'm with God, and there's no problems here. It's just beautiful. And it's like hearing heavenly angels singing and just at peace and loving, you know, sending love. That's what she does. She like goes and flits around like a butterfly from, you know, family member to family member.
I've been seeing so many butterflies the last few days.
There's no coincidence when I say things. They just make me blurt things out. Like I'll see it in my mind's eye, or they'll just make me blurt it out. And so it's like that's a sign from her. But she's also, you know, watching other people, because she's like, I'm watching you. She's like, she loves you to death, but she just wants you to be like mindful and stay out of trouble with women. There's a real reference to women here. So, or girls, you know, they're teenagers, they're girls, right?
Yes.
So just be mindful of that, because, you know, I mean, you don't want to be a dad at your age. Right. So she's just like giving you some real strong advice here. Okay. But she's like this. Oh, she's so cute. She's pinching his cheeks. You know, yeah. Yes. So cute. So cute. She loves you so much. She just loves both of you. She's so happy that she was able to come through and just sending you love and blessings. and just helping you with everything. You know, you talk to her, she's right there. She talks right back to you. She's like, it's not your imagination. So just keep talking to her, and she'll keep talking to you and blessing you. Is she the one you really wanted to hear from today? Good, I'm glad. Just want to make sure you heard from who you want to. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we could go on forever, but at some point we have to
I know there is a lot of them.
Yeah,
it really is.
So many people. Okay, she just sends you so much love, and stay out of trouble. Says that out of such love for you.
That's you.
That's you, but sending you so much love and blessings. And she'll be at everything, graduation, weddings, everything. She'll be there. And you'll get signs. You'll continue to get signs. She also shows me lights. So if you ever see lights blinking on and off, or electricity, cell phones, which might happen to you, or TV, anything acting weird with electricity, that's her as well. Yeah. You understand?
No, because she knows not to mess with me. I tell everybody, do not mess with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just I get freaked out.
Well,
that would just spook me.
Oh, don't let it spook you. Well, then she may be doing that to you because maybe you won't get scared. If your cell phone starts freaking out, you'll just go, hi. Yeah?
Really?
Oh, there you go. Okay. See, there's nothing to be afraid of. She's like, okay, I'll just keep showing you the butterflies, but she wants to come through as strongly as she can.
Really?
So that's why she shows me coming to you in the dreams. It's not to scare you, it's to visit.
Right.
Like, I'm visiting you.
Okay.
And so she's like, please don't be afraid of me. You were never afraid of me in life.
Right.
Why would you be afraid of me now?
And I always think I would love to see her one more time, or just
yeah, you
hug her
will.
one more time.
You absolutely will. This will be a visit. You'll have to let me know, because she's showing me this, which is like, I'm going to come to her in her dreams. I'm going to visit her, and you're going to be talking to her. You're going to be loving her, touching her, and like, oh my God, I really got to one more time. But it's not only going to be once. I think it'll happen throughout your life.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah.
How cool was that? So now my question is, how do you prepare to do a reading?
I meditate before every reading. I open up my 7 main chakras, which I learned from one of my teachers, James Van Praagh, who, book I read all those years ago.
Yeah.
And that's mainly what I do. So, and I also connect with my guides. I ask my guides for help, and my dad and my Auntie Selma. So, and they actually, what happens is my mentor taught me to meditate before every reading, or to connect with my guides. James Van Praagh taught me about opening up the chakras. But connecting with the guides is kind of amazing, because, or with your loved ones in spirit before a reading, because I will take notes and get information before I ever speak to somebody. So you're already connected.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I do that, even though I probably don't have to anymore after years of doing it. I still like to do it because it feels like respectful of spirit, and just already starting. It's like warming up if you're a runner,
So when you hear the spirits, do you hear that in your voice? Do you hear it in theirs?
Yeah.
And how do you know how to differentiate between, I guess if you don't know a name, like you would think, well, of course that's not mine because I don't know who that is, right?
Yes, right. So, and this, practice, there's nothing like practice, experience,
Yeah.
You can be a natural born medium and be very gifted, but if you don't do readings, it's just like you can be a natural born musician and never play the piano.
Sure.
So, so you wouldn't get great because you have to practice. So my mind is wandering. Sorry, what were you saying? I must be hungry.
Is somebody coming in? No.
Probably.
No, that's fine.
I was making a point, though. What were you saying exactly? Because I wanted to finish that point.
Just with the voices, how you hear them.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do hear them in my own voice, and they will put words in my mouth. They will... so as a medium, I use all of my senses. My hearing is usually the strongest, so I do tend to get names. But they will also put other things in my head. So words, pictures, feelings of how someone passed. Like I'll know if it's lungs or kidney, things like that.
Yeah.
So you use all of your senses. So when you're opening up your chakras and connecting with your guides, you're opening yourself up to whatever comes in. And so...
Yeah. So what is the difference between... Because sometimes you'll toss out full names.
Yeah.
And other times it's I'm getting the letter S.
Yes.
Is the connection maybe just not as strong with some spirits compared to others, that you don't get the full information?
Yeah. So every reading is different. Every spirit connection is different. Just like our connection is different with every person that we encounter.
Okay.
So if someone was quiet and shy, I will still feel that. So, and if someone is more verbal, they'll talk more. If someone's more visual, they'll show me pictures. So
Okay.
I do, yeah, sometimes people will just be some spirits, and it depends who I'm reading as well, because it is a three-way connection between me, you, and spirit. So if somebody is like closed off and they're only thinking of like, if I hear this one thing, I'll believe, it's a lot harder to connect because they want to talk about 5 other things that you might not be open to.
Yeah.
But I can feel that during a reading. Most people who talk to me are open. Sometimes
Yeah.
people are just afraid and they get to know me and then they relax a little. So
Okay.
it's a feeling of like, okay, I'm going to let her in. You know?
Yeah.
This is like hard to have a conversation with somebody who's like guarded.
Yeah. Right.
That's kind of what it is. But sometimes
Because their
they'll-
personalities, they take them with them.
yeah, exactly
Yeah.
right. So sometimes I've had people show me all pictures, mostly men, and women tend
Because
to
they're
be
not
more
as verbal. Right.
Women tend to be more verbal.
Yeah.
You know, they'll
Yeah,
say, "Talk
okay.
about Michael and Ellen and Susan and Kathy," and I'll be like, "Okay, yeah," but
Okay.
it just depends. You know,
Yeah.
you can never guarantee what's going to happen during a reading. You know.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if I can't read somebody, which, you know, happens once in a while to every medium, there's just somebody once in a blue moon, maybe once in 1,000 readings where it's just like, I'm sorry, I'm not the right person for you.
Yeah.
And, you know, I won't charge somebody if I can't read them.
Right.
But there is also, once in a while too, like I'll reschedule somebody if the connection is not right. And my mentor taught me, you know, spirit has their own sense of divine right timing. And
Yeah.
if it's not the right time, it's just not going to be as strong. So I learned to put my ego aside. It's not about me. I work for them. I mean, I
Yeah.
also work for my clients, but I have to rely on them, spirit,
Yeah.
to give me the information. And if they're like, not today, but in next week,
Yeah.
yeah. And so
Okay.
as a working medium, you have to put aside your ego. And that's not
Yeah.
always easy because you want everything to be wonderful for your client.
Right.
And if they, you know, reschedule, I mean, they trust me. I'm a trustworthy person. But,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes it's like hard on the soul.
Yeah. That you couldn't get it done right then.
Yeah. And it's like next week, and then it'll come in like gangbusters. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I can tell you from experience that I had an amazing time with her. I believed in the afterlife already, but it was, if nothing else, it was a really fun experience to connect and just to feel that, because because you feel it in the moment and you know it, and it can become very emotional, as you saw. And so I would highly recommend any of you, if you're interested in this. Like I said, if you're not, you know, close by, she does most of this stuff over the phone anyway, so I'm going to let her tell you the best way to get a hold of her if you would like to schedule a reading.
Okay, great. My website is foreverinspirit.com. And you can also call me. It's 310-490-7424. And I'm Kirstin Ross. You can also Google Medium Kirstin Ross, but Forever in Spirit is how people usually contact me and book it through my website.
Okay. I also want to let you know that I would love to have you send me any questions that you might have. Any kind of advice that you're looking for, whether it's on relationships or finances or stuff that's going on at work or anything like that. Please send in your questions, and I'll be reading those on upcoming shows and giving some answers. And you can send those to support@outsidethebox.vip. Thank you so much for watching. We've loved being here with you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.